Welcome to the Legends in English. Here, we tell stories of great people who changed the world with their courage and dreams. These stories will help you learn simple English, practice listening, and improve speaking. You will also find lessons in hope, hard work, and never giving up. Today, we will talk about Winston Churchill, a man who led his country in very hard times and inspired millions with his words and actions. Listen carefully, follow the story, and let it motivate you to dream, act, and achieve great things. Introduction and early life of Churchill. There are men whose names echo through history. Men whose courage, vision, and determination shaped the fate of nations. Winston Churchill was one such man. He was not born perfect. He was not born a hero. He was born human, with fears, flaws, and struggles. Yet, he rose to stand against darkness. He rose to inspire millions. He rose to change the course of history. Imagine a world in chaos. A world threatened by tyranny and fear. A world where millions trembled under oppression. Then, a voice rose. A voice of courage. A voice of hope. A voice that refused to bow. That voice was Winston Churchill. Early life and struggles, 1874 to 1895. Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born on November 30, 1874, in Blenheim Palace, Oxfordshire, England. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a prominent politician, and his mother, Jenny Jerome, was an American socialite from a wealthy family. Winston grew up in a world of privilege, yet his childhood was far from easy. He struggled in school. Teachers called him lazy. He was often lonely. He did not excel in academics. Yet, there was a spark inside him. A spark that refused to be extinguished. Young Winston loved history, stories of battles, tales of bravery, and the lives of great leaders. He was fascinated by courage, leadership, and the idea of making a difference. Though he was born into privilege, he faced emotional challenges. His parents were often distant. His father was ambitious but strict, often criticizing young Winston. His mother, though loving, lived mostly in high society. Winston learned early to stand on his own, to fight for attention, respect, and achievement, and to listen to his own voice. At the age of 18, he entered the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. He faced fierce competition and strict discipline. Many thought he would fail. Many doubted him. Yet, Winston studied hard, not just to pass, but to excel. His determination, stubbornness, and courage began to shape the man he would become. By 1895, Winston Churchill had graduated and became a second lieutenant in the British Army. He was ready to explore the world, face challenges, and prove himself. But little did the world know that this young man, who struggled in school, would one day lead a nation through its darkest hours. Turning points in early career, 1895 to 1914. After graduating from Sandhurst in 1895, Winston Churchill began his military career. But he was not content with ordinary life. He wanted adventure. He wanted to see the world. He wanted to understand people, nations, and the cost of courage. Military adventures and journalism. Churchill first served in Cuba, India, and the Sudan, participating in military campaigns. He faced danger, hunger, and harsh conditions. In 1898, he took part in the Battle of Omdurman in Sudan. There, he saw bravery, fear, and the power of leadership firsthand. These experiences taught him that courage is not the absence of fear but the ability to act despite it. He also became a war correspondent. In 1899, Churchill reported on the Second Boer War in South Africa. During this mission, he was captured by the Boers and imprisoned. For days, he endured hardship, hunger, and uncertainty. Yet, he refused to give up. In a daring escape, he fled the prison and returned to British lines. This story of bravery made him a national hero and marked the first major turning point in his life. Entry into politics. In 1900, Churchill entered politics, elected as a member of Parliament for the Conservative Party. Yet, politics was not easy. He faced criticism, opposition, and even ridicule. Many doubted him. Many thought he would fail. But Churchill had learned a key lesson: persistence is stronger than talent, and courage outweighs criticism. By 1904, he made a bold choice. He switched from the Conservative Party to the Liberal Party. Some called it betrayal. Some called it ambition. But for Churchill, it was about principle, vision, and doing what he believed was right for the people. He worked tirelessly on social reforms, education, and public welfare. Key lessons from these turning points. 1. Courage in danger creates heroes. 2. Standing for principle, even against criticism, defines greatness. 3. Early failures and hardships prepare one for future leadership. Churchill's adventures, escapes, and political shifts were not just events, they were lessons. Each challenge made him resilient, daring, and visionary, shaping the man who would later lead Britain through the darkest days of World War II. Failures and challenges, 1914 to 1939. Every great life has storms. Every hero faces moments of doubt, criticism, and defeat. For Winston Churchill, these years were full of both public and personal challenges. They tested his courage, patience, and resilience. World War I and the Gallipoli Campaign. In 1915, during World War I, Churchill was First Lord of the Admiralty. He envisioned a bold plan to attack the Ottoman Empire through the Gallipoli Peninsula to help the Allies. It was daring, ambitious, and meant to change the war's course. But the campaign failed. Thousands of soldiers died. Critics blamed Churchill. His political opponents demanded his resignation. The public questioned his judgment. For the first time, Churchill faced severe criticism. He took responsibility for the failure and resigned from office. Yet, even in failure, he did not give up. He said later, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts." This period taught him humility, perseverance, and the value of learning from mistakes. Political exile and struggles. After Gallipoli, Churchill spent years out of office. Many thought his career was over. He was called stubborn, reckless, and unfit for leadership. Newspapers ridiculed him. Colleagues doubted him. Yet, he continued to write, study, and speak out on national defense. He never stopped preparing for the moment when Britain would need him most. Personal challenges. Churchill also faced personal struggles. He worked long hours, suffered stress, and often questioned his own decisions. His marriage to Clementine was a source of support, yet even in family life, he balanced responsibilities with national duty. These years strengthened his character, teaching him patience, strategy, and foresight. Warning about the rise of Hitler. In the 1930s, while many politicians ignored the threat, Churchill warned about Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. People called him an alarmist. They laughed at his speeches. He was isolated, criticized, and ridiculed. But he stayed true to his beliefs. He continued to speak of courage, preparation, and unity. The price of greatness is responsibility. Churchill's warnings were ignored at first, but history proved him right. His foresight during these years showed his vision, intelligence, and moral courage. Philosophy, teachings, and inspirational quotes. Winston Churchill was more than a soldier, politician, or prime minister. He was a thinker, a writer, and a teacher of courage. His philosophy was shaped by history, personal struggles, and experience, and his words continue to inspire millions around the world. Churchill believed that true courage is acting despite fear. He often said, "Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees all others." He taught that life is full of challenges, but fear should never stop action. Leaders are not those who never face danger, they are those who rise despite it. Churchill understood that nations and individuals must prepare for the future. He warned of dangers before they arrived and believed in taking decisive action when needed. The empires of the future are the empires of the mind. He showed that vision is not just seeing what is before your eyes, but understanding what the world could become. He lived by discipline and relentless effort. Churchill worked long hours, often writing, painting, or planning late into the night. He believed continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking our potential. He taught that talent is not enough. Determination, preparation, and hard work are essential to achieving greatness. Even in the darkest hours of World War II, when Britain faced bombings, food shortages, and despair, Churchill's speeches were filled with hope. He reminded people that darkness is temporary, and courage can light the way. If you're going through hell, keep going. His words inspired not just soldiers, but entire nations, teaching that hope and action together can overcome fear. Churchill believed that leaders must act decisively, take responsibility, and inspire others through example, words, and deeds. He said, "The price of greatness is responsibility." He showed that leadership is not about titles, wealth, or comfort. It is about sacrificing for the greater good, thinking strategically, and facing challenges boldly. Despite his battles and fame, Churchill valued human connection and humor. He understood that resilience is strengthened by joy, laughter, and compassion. His famous quips, stories, and personal warmth made him relatable even in the highest corridors of power. Major achievements and contributions. Winston Churchill's life is a story of extraordinary achievements. From his early military service to becoming one of the greatest leaders in history, his contributions shaped nations and inspired generations. 1895 to 1900, Churchill began as a young officer and war correspondent. His daring escape from a Boer prison in 1899 made him a national hero. This event showed the world that courage, determination, and cleverness could overcome impossible odds. 1900 to 1910, in politics, he worked for social reforms, including workers' rights, education, and public health. He proved that leadership is not just about power, but about improving people's lives. Short summary of key achievements. Escaped Boer prison and became a war hero, 1899. Social reforms as a young politician, 1900 to 1910. Modernized the Royal Navy, 1911 onward. Led Britain during World War II, 1940 to 1945. Strengthened Allied strategy and international diplomacy. Authored books and won the Nobel Prize in Literature, 1953. Warned the world about future threats, inspiring global leaders. Churchill's life teaches that greatness is built on courage, vision, persistence, and the courage to act even when the world doubts you. Leadership during World War II. Churchill's most famous achievement was leading Britain through World War II, 1939 to 1945. Prime Minister in 1940, when Hitler's armies threatened Europe, Churchill became Prime Minister on May 10, 1940. Britain faced invasion, bombings, and despair. Many doubted survival. But Churchill's courage and speeches inspired the nation. Iconic speeches, his words became legendary. "We shall fight on the beaches, never surrender," and "their finest hour" were not just speeches, they were beacons of hope that united a frightened nation. Alliances and strategy. Churchill worked closely with the United States, the Soviet Union, and other Allied powers. He helped plan military strategies, including the D-Day invasion in 1944, which changed the course of the war. Domestic leadership. Even before the war, Churchill worked to modernize the Royal Navy, improve national defense, and strengthen Britain's international position. Post-war efforts. After 1945, though defeated in elections, he continued to influence global politics. His warnings about the Iron Curtain in 1946 highlighted the dangers of Soviet expansion and inspired the Western world's Cold War strategy. Churchill was also an award-winning writer. He wrote books on history, politics, and his own life. In 1953, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for his mastery of historical writing and speeches. He proved that leadership is not only about action but also about thought, reflection, and expression. Inspirational short stories. Winston Churchill's life is full of stories that teach courage, determination, and leadership. These incidents are small moments, but they reveal the strength of his character. 1. The Boer War escape, 1899. As a young soldier and war correspondent in South Africa, Churchill was captured by the Boers during the Second Boer War. They imprisoned him in Pretoria. Most men would have felt hopeless. But Churchill refused to give up. He studied the prison, searched for weaknesses, and planned carefully. One night, he escaped. He walked 30 miles through dangerous enemy territory, risking death at every step. He finally reached safety and returned to Britain as a hero. Lesson: courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear. 2. Painting through stress. Churchill loved painting. During stressful moments, such as wartime planning or political pressure, he painted landscapes and portraits. Many thought it was strange for a powerful leader to paint. But Churchill understood something important. Even in the darkest times, a creative heart finds peace and strength. Painting helped him relax, think clearly, and stay strong for his country. Lesson: finding personal balance and peace is essential for enduring great challenges. 3. Standing alone against opposition. In the 1930s, before World War II, many British leaders ignored Hitler's threat. Churchill warned repeatedly about Nazi Germany. He was mocked, criticized, and called a warmonger. Most people didn't listen. But Churchill did not give up. He continued to speak, write, and prepare Britain. When war came, his foresight saved the nation from disaster. Lesson: true vision requires patience, persistence, and courage, even when others doubt you. What great men said about Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill earned the respect of leaders, thinkers, and ordinary people around the world. His courage, vision, and determination inspired not only Britain but also the world. Many admired him for his leadership, intellect, and moral strength. Franklin D. Roosevelt, U.S. President. President Roosevelt, Churchill's closest ally during World War II, said, "He has the courage of a lion and the mind of a strategist. Britain could not have faced Hitler without him." Roosevelt recognized that Churchill's words and actions were crucial in uniting the Allies and giving hope during the darkest times. Dwight D. Eisenhower, U.S. General and later President. General Eisenhower, who led the D-Day invasion, admired Churchill's calm leadership under pressure. He was always ready with a plan, a speech, or an idea to lift spirits. Leaders like him are rare in history. Eisenhower often noted that Churchill's guidance helped Allied soldiers believe in victory even when the odds were against them. Charles de Gaulle, French leader. De Gaulle, leader of Free France during World War II, respected Churchill's commitment to liberty. Churchill fought for freedom, not for himself. His heart was with the people who could not fight for themselves. Albert Einstein, scientist and thinker. Einstein, who admired moral courage, said, "Churchill showed that intellect and courage together can change the course of history." Even outside politics, thinkers saw Churchill as a man whose words and deeds carried universal lessons about leadership and responsibility. Ordinary citizens. Soldiers on the battlefield remembered, when Churchill spoke, "We felt we could face anything." Civilians during the Blitz said, "His voice gave us courage when our homes fell apart." We survived because he never gave up. Churchill was not only respected by famous men but also loved by the common people, showing that leadership is truly measured by the hearts one touches. Legacy and global impact. Winston Churchill's life left a mark far beyond Britain. His courage, vision, and words influenced nations, leaders, and ordinary people across the world. His legacy continues to teach lessons about leadership, resilience, and hope. Impact on Britain. Churchill saved Britain during World War II. His speeches, courage, and leadership united the nation when it faced bombs, invasions, and despair. After the war, even though he lost the election in 1945, people continued to admire him. Schools, streets, and memorials honor his memory, reminding citizens of the power of courage. Influence on world leaders. Churchill worked closely with Roosevelt, Stalin, and other Allied leaders. His strategies and diplomatic skills shaped the post-war world. His Iron Curtain speech in 1946 warned the world about the Soviet threat and influenced the Western approach to the Cold War. Leaders around the globe studied his writings, speeches, and decisions for guidance. Inspiration for generations. Leaders, soldiers, and students still read Churchill's speeches for inspiration. His life teaches that vision, determination, and moral courage can overcome even the darkest challenges. His writing and speeches continue to inspire millions to stand against fear, fight for justice, and believe in themselves. Global recognition. Around the world, Churchill is remembered not just as a British Prime Minister but as a symbol of resilience and leadership. Countries have statues, schools, and streets named after him. He is admired in Europe, America, Asia, and Africa for showing that one person's courage can influence history. Lessons for today. Leadership is about serving others, speaking truth, and acting even when others hesitate. Words have power. Actions have consequences. Courage and wisdom together can change the destiny of millions. Churchill's life is a reminder that even in despair, hope, planning, and perseverance can create a brighter future. Emotional and poetic narration. There are lives that are read like history. And there are lives that are felt like poetry. Winston Churchill's life is both. He was a boy who stumbled in school, a young man who faced rejection, a soldier who saw fear and death up close. Yet, inside him burned a fire. A fire that said, "Do not give up. Do not surrender. The world can be changed." He searched in the dust of battlefields. He searched in the silence of night. He searched in the shadows of doubt. And he found courage. He found strength. He found purpose. He walked through London streets as bombs fell like rain, yet his voice rose above the chaos. He spoke of hope. He spoke of unity. He spoke of victory, not just in war, but in spirit. He painted with brushes, wrote with pens, and spoke with thunderous words. Each stroke, each word, each speech was a bridge from despair to hope. He loved his country, but he loved humanity more. He knew that a leader is not a ruler, but a servant of people. He believed that even in darkness, a single lamp can light 1,000 paths. He laughed in private, cried in silence, and fought publicly with unmatched courage. He stumbled, he fell, he failed, but each fall became a step, each failure a lesson, each struggle a story of triumph. And through it all, he whispered a simple truth. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. Courage matters most. Churchill's life teaches us to stand tall when the world tries to push us down, to speak when silence is easier, to act when fear says stop. He lived like a giant, yet he cared like a child. He ruled like a leader, yet he served like a teacher. And in every heart that reads his story, a spark ignites. A spark that says, "I can. I will. I must." Life conclusion. Winston Churchill's life was not ordinary. It was a story of courage, vision, and determination. He showed the world that one person's strength can guide millions. He taught us that failure is not the end, that darkness is not permanent, and that hope can shine brighter than the strongest storm. He proved that words can move mountains, speeches can lift nations, and a single heart can change history. From a struggling student to a soldier, a writer, a statesman, and the prime minister who led a nation through its darkest hours, Churchill's journey inspires generations. He faced rejection, criticism, war, and despair but never gave up. He fought for what was right, for what was just, and for what was noble. His life whispers to every dreamer. Stand tall when others fall. Speak truth when others are silent. Fight with courage even when fear surrounds you. Churchill's legacy is eternal. His words echo in classrooms, parliaments, and homes. His spirit lives in every person who dares to dream, every leader who dares to act, and every individual who refuses to surrender to fear. History may record dates and battles, but life remembers courage, integrity, and the fire to never give up. Winston Churchill is not just a man in history. He is a lesson. He is an inspiration. He is a light that will continue to guide humanity for generations. And so, when we face challenges, when we feel powerless, we remember him. We remember a man who said, "Never, never, never give up." And we rise. We fight. We dream. We achieve. Winston Churchill's life is more than a story. It is a call to courage, a song of hope, and a guide for all who wish to make a difference. Churchill's life teaches us that true leadership is forged through challenges and failures. Courage is standing firm despite fear, while failure is a teacher guiding us toward growth. Vision demands patience, persistence, and preparation, and hard work builds character. Optimism, hope, and responsibility can steer individuals and nations through darkness. Churchill showed that ordinary people, with determination and foresight, can achieve extraordinary feats. One person's courage can unite a nation, and words can be as powerful as armies. His legacy reminds us that leadership is not about ease, but about resilience, heart, and unwavering vision. Thank you for listening to the Legends in English. We have learned about great people who faced problems, never gave up, and changed the world. Their stories teach us courage, hard work, and hope. By listening carefully, you also improve your English, learn new words, and practice speaking. Remember, every big achievement starts with a small step, a dream, and the courage to try. Let these stories inspire you to be strong, keep learning, and follow your dreams. Legends are not only history, they are lessons for life. You can also be a legend in your own way.